Alright, so we're going to remove the side cover to replace the water pump seals. So this screw, these three screws hold the water pump cover on, but we have to take the whole side cover off. And this one is the drain screw. So let's see how big a mess we can make here. Okay, now comes the fun part. Taking the radiator cap off. All right, now going to remove the clutch cable and the shift lever. So I'm going to make a mark here. So that's, hopefully I'll get it back on right. Now the deal with this is this bolt actually occupies a hollow in the shaft. There's a groove in the shaft, so you've got to take this bolt all the way out. It's not just a pinch bolt on a spline. And when the bolt's all the way out, you wiggle this guy, and it comes right off. Okay, I think you can see the relief in there, and the bolt sort of occupies that relief, which is why you can't pull this off even if the bolt is loose. Okay. All right, now we're going to remove the other two water pump cover bolts. And you don't actually have to take the hoses loose, if my memory serves correctly, because the water pump cover itself will just pull out of the way once you get these three bolts out. Okay, and there's the water pump. There's it's the impeller, and this is the water pump. But there's just two seals behind here. One of them seals the antifreeze on this side, and the other one seals the oil on that side. So we've got to take this cover off to service the water pump. So what we're going to do is get a bungee cord, a little bungee, and just bungee this guy up out of the way while we operate on the rest of it. So what that means is we're going to take all these bolts out. So the first thing we'll do is go around and loosen them up. Now, when we're loosening them up, one of them you need to pay attention to is this guy. That's the ground strap for the battery. So you've got to make sure that you remember to put the strap back on that bolt when you go to reinstall that bolt. The rest of them are all pretty much straightforward, with the minor exception of the starter. Now the starter, gotta have an L wrench. Get that guy out, and we'll just go around and take all these bolts loose. Okay, you can cut. Okay, now we're going to pull the cover off. So what you do is just kind of actuate the clutch. Actually backwards. And you pull on this tab up here, and it will, if you got all the bolts out. Oh, yeah, forgot something. I don't have oil in this bike, but if you do, one of the things you want to do is slip a 2x4 up under one side of the center stand, and that'll make all the oil slide back toward the inside of the motor instead of the outside of the motor. All right, and we're just kind of working this cover off. Okay, so it's kind of hung at the shifter shaft, so I'm going to take a rubber mallet. I'm going to stick my fingers up inside the cover and be pulling on it, and there we go. Okay, so come on. All right, there's the cover. All right, and your water pump, there's the gear, the drive gear that runs here. And so we're going to take this over to the bench and remove it and inspect it. That's the clutch. Okay. Alright, so we're going to remove the water pump. Pull this gear off. Now, they've changed the design, so depending on what you've got, there may be a couple of different things you have to do. And this pin slides right out. You might have to knock it out. And then there's this washer. And then the water pump slides out. And there's a seal here that we can pry out with a screwdriver. Okay, and then there's another seal that similarly comes out with a screwdriver. And one of the things that you need to pay attention to is the blank sides of the seals face each other. When you've got an oil seal or a water seal, there's a little spring in there, and the pressure of the fluid it's trying to seal in pushes on this lip of the seal, and the spring helps keep it sealed. So what we're doing is we're keeping water on this side and oil on this side. Now this hole is smaller, so we're going to put the two seals in. Okay, cut. Alright, I'm going to talk about the water pumps here a little bit. This is the one that I took out, and you can see how there are shiny places on the shaft, and if you run your fingernail over them, you know, maybe you can feel something on there. This is one, the water pump was shot, and if you run your fingernail, I mean, you can see there's even waves where the seal has worn into it. Now, this guy does not have the impeller on it. This is an old style, so this is the older style, and you can see there's a roll pin there, and you could knock the roll pin out and change this impeller part. But the new water pump, this is a new one, it's one piece. So yeah, the thing's still there, but when you buy it, it's this one piece and it's already put together. This material is a sort of a rubberized plastic, and this material is kind of a brittle plastic, and these will break up. If you've got, you can just pull those three screws out, and you can see what kind of water pump you have. If you've got one of these kind instead of one of the black ones, it's well worth your while to go ahead and invest in the kit. I am going to replace these seals just because I prefer to replace leaky bits in my garage instead of on the roadside. So I'm going to reuse this water pump shaft and not use the new one because I honestly don't feel anything going on there, and it's not torn up like this one. Okay. Alright, so first we're going to put the seal in for the oil, and it goes into the bottom of this blind hole. And guess maybe try to clean that out a little bit. Alright, BMW says that you should put some grease between the seals, but that's really stupid. This is the weep hole, and if you put grease between the seals, it'll block the weep hole and you'll have a problem and you'll never see it. So you always want to lubricate a seal both inside and outside with whatever it's going to be sealing. So since this is the seal that keeps the oil, we're going to oil it up and put that guy in there. Okay, and take a socket